These are going to be some cards that you're going to want to keep an eye on to either make sure you have for upcoming decks before the price goes up, or just to kind of have to mess around with. Alright, to the 30% of you have not smashed it, then grab it, let's grab it and smash it so you guys miss out on Morales content. That was not sped up. I'm just an auctioneer today. Number 1 on our list here is going to be Aratama. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I love what the new Spirit deck is doing. The fact that you combine this with Aratama, you get a search package, you get a reveal, and any of these decks that want to be able to get rank 4s on the field, the new little Spirit package, in the year 2023, you're seeing Spirit monsters be used as climbing materials for some of these decks. And that's really cool at the end of the day when you can see rank 4 toolboxing options return back to the playing field. All right, it definitely says something about how the game is going now, and especially with such an easy access point to Spirit monsters of all things, you're definitely going to keep an eye out here for what's going on. So yes, Aratamas are kind of already rising in price. Next up is going to be specifically Tellarknight Deneb, but I also want to mention some of the other Tellarknight cards in here. Now, Tellarknight cards have been on the decline in value, which is a good thing, all right? At the point that we get to make this video, they do have the new support coming out, which is obviously the main reason why you want to pick this stuff up. The fact that you can see that this package here is going to get so much playtime, so much value, so much bang for its buck. Man, I'm really setting this up. It is a little bit slower of a control deck. I mean, obviously, it's going to be dependent on, you know, light and dark decks in your competitive metagame. But at the end of the day, it's really going to kind of go to show that if you can access, you know, Deneb, your searchability options, how your end boards are going to get the chance set up. You know, do I rank up to a Pallades here? Do I make an M7 here? You have a lot of cool option trees that you can do with the hybrid build for this deck. So it's definitely up in the air there. Next up is going to be Purely. Now, I think that the adorable little monsters are... This deck is doing a lot in the OCG. The X-Puri Nor, the big cat that is immune to activated effects and has the right amount of materials. The fact that this deck also, that stupid cat gets the ability to do like a huge amounts of bounces, depending on how many materials are underneath it. That's actually kind of a scary thing. When you can see these boss monsters being used in the way that disrupt the opponent, yeah. And I'm going to continue to put Purely on this list as those card prices go down, because you are so far out right now with this deck that you have to know what you need to pick up. And this is definitely a 4 to 5 monther for sure before you will start to see this deck actually take off. So be thankful that you get the knowledge to be like, you know, if everything's very cheap now, maybe I should grab it. And then, of course, you have Vice's Starfrost out here. I think the Vice's Starfrost packages that you can make with this deck are absolutely hilarious. The fact that, I mean, they gave this deck a stupid fusion monster that you can make for free with the deck. Like, we didn't really need those sorts of utility options for this deck, but Konami went ahead and said, you know what, we're still going to give them to you. These are going to be things that you are going to need to be able to have built into your deck in order to win. So when you can, I guess, banish and meet the fusion requirements for something, for a boss monster that you can just pull out of your extra deck, at really no point, you can't really complain. So I guess free universal resources are always going to be a good thing at the end of the day. So yeah, keep an eye on Vice's Starfrost, especially if you're a fan of the upcoming stuff, because it really is something big. We also have Swords of Concealing Light. Now, to be honest with you, I've been on the Swords of Concealing Light train for a while. This and Book of Eclipse, the difference here is Swords of Concealing Light is out on your turn. The Book of Eclipse you can use defensively against the opponent. You can also chain it on your opponent as well. The only downside is they're going to get some draw power if you can't out the entire field. That's like a really big thing that you kind of got to pay attention to. But if you can hunker down an entire opponent's field, with either swords or the Book of Eclipse and then clean it up. Swords, I feel like, is for the slower decks. They can't really clear a whole board. They need like 2 turns to do it. But in a situation like, Kashtira playing Book of Eclipse, they'll be able to tear through an entire field with ease. So little things to really consider here, but Swords of Concealing Light's definitely going to be one of those upcoming meta big cards. And then, of course, we have Labyrinth. We have talked a lot about Labyrinth. The fact that this is the new upcoming trap deck. You can stun the growth of your opponent. You have weight measuring. You have all of these amazing, cool power cards that this control deck gets. You also get the big Welcome Labyrinth coming here soon that you are definitely going to enjoy playing. All right. I am actually very excited for Labyrinth. Believe it or not, I've not played a lot of the deck. I've watched a lot of gameplay of the deck, but I think that this deck is going to be a pretty good contender. I think a lot of people are going to kind of look around at this deck. They're going to kind of take a little bit of a step back, and they're going to kind of go, is this really like the metagame monster that we think it's going to be? I think it's worth genuinely investing in to make sure that you can have the cards, because you never know when something's going to go wrong. Now, on the topic of Labyrinth, I want to mention Phoenix Wing Blast here. Now, there are always going to be a lot of cards that you can kind of pick up and go, is this worth playing? Now, in the case of Labyrinth, Phoenix Wing Blast kind of creates an interesting little situation with this. Now, if our metagame slows down to the OCG's point here, then you could see Phoenix Wing Blast be one of those cards that you could play as a 1-2 of in Labyrinth, because you get the ability to basically force the opponent to lose an entire turn by forcing whatever you're outing back to the top of the deck. Now, if it's an extra deck card, it goes back to the extra deck. They won't have to dead draw that. But if it's something on the field that is an issue, is maybe already, done its purpose, or it's like a big brick at the end of the day, you can simply just spin it back, and now your opponent's going to have to dead draw that resource, which puts you in such a leading position at the end of the day. So that's definitely going to be some big value there to really consider. And then, of course, Super Heavy Samurai cards. Super Heavy Samurai with those new pendulum scales have definitely been something that the OCG has kind of seen taking off a little bit. Now, you've got to decide what cards do we need to pick up? I mean, like Soul Piercer. You're going to have to kind of do a little bit of research into this one. I am just kind of putting the generic, hey, Super Heavy Samurai stuff is starting to do stuff. Whether or not it's going to be like a heavy metagame contender is an entirely different story at the end of the day. But I find that to be very, very interesting that a lot of people are giving some big consideration to this deck. I mean, we don't have Sekka's Light at the capacity that the OCG does, where you can just slap down, crap ton of those and go. But you do have some cool things that you can do with this, and that's what really, catches my attention with this. So at the end of the day, yeah, give this a major consideration. Now, of course, I want to specifically mention Planet Pathfinder here. The rare Planet Pathfinders are already going up in price because it's, oddly enough, in one of the higher rarity cards. Now, could we see rare Planet Pathfinders eventually take off? Oh, I mean, sure. You could very much see this end up being a $2 to $3 card. If it does get a holo reprint, that will probably send this back to the Stone Age, but that would be what you'd want to see. You'd want to see this, but because this card is from Maximum Gold, and I specifically mention this rarity because it is the highest currently. All of your other Planet Pathfinders are commons, but they're all kind of starting to go up in price. If you don't have these, or more field spells tend to get limited, this is another one of those option cards to go get all of those others. It's a big giant ash target. Robbie takes up your normal summon. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. A lot of these combo decks don't give two craps about their normal summons at the end of the day. So that's really something pretty major to really think about here. And then, of course, I got to give a big shout out to at least having one high rarity copy of Necro Valley. If you're like me and you look at a lot of these control decks and you're like, like my flavor of the month is Necro Valley. Well, yes. but you don't need 3 of these. It's really turned into like a one of as of late. I mean, obviously with more metaverses means more options that you can bring out of the deck to punish the opponent, but that's something really kind of worth mentioning here is at the end of the day, your high rarity options are very much there. I would give some big consideration to those at the end of the day. So really do give them a shot. So what do you guys think about this list of cards? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.